I learned something about Minikube. As I was setting up a storage class, I set up a storage class at home. I set up a Kubernetes cluster at home and then realized I did not have a storage class. Now, I knew that you needed to add a storage class, and you can watch the big long video of me doing that. But there's actually a really interesting tidbit that I learned about Minikube. Minikube, and I'm going to read it in ChatGPT's words. Minikube can dynamically provision persistent volumes for persistent volume claims using HostPath, but it does so using an internal default storage class called standard. It's very special, it's very customized, and it's this thing that's been added to Minikube. Why is that important? Because if you're like me, you say, you're all proud because you finally got your Kubernetes cluster on-prem with kubeadm running, and you're like, oh great, and then you go try out your thing, and all of a sudden you can't create any PVC, persistent volume claims. So I had a PVC, and the reason that this didn't work is because for those of you who know Kubernetes, for any PVC you need a PV, a persistent volume. But in almost every case, every cluster you ever normally work with, including Minikube, when you create a PVC, the system, Kubernetes itself, whatever, the provisioner, whatever, I don't even know what thing it is, it will actually create a PV to go with the PVC if there isn't one there, and it will use the system default storage class, whatever that is. And in the case of, in the case of this, we're actually seeing that the persistent volume claim that's being created was not being created. And I was like, what the hell? Minikube did it. And now I'm learning that Minikube is special. Minikube uses a HostPath provisioner, which is a HostPath is one of the default storage classes. You still have to add it, by the way. HostPath is a storage class that uses the local disk that's attached to each node. And you don't normally almost never want to use that because that means that storage can't be used anywhere else, right? So like if you wanted to use, and that's, we'll get into storage classes later. The video is about one thing. Minikube breaks the rules. Minikube creates a persistent volume for a persistent volume claim, even though HostPath storage class does not dynamically create PVs for each PVC, which means that in my case, my manifest, I did not have the creation of a PV because I thought it would get automatically created. Now, there's two ways to fix that. One of them would be install a storage class that does dynamic provisioning, which includes NFS, by the way, which is what I'm going to do, or use Minikube, which has this built-in hack to make it work. And yeah, I'm going to avoid a rant right here because I'm kind of annoyed by this, because Minikube is actually building in a false expectation that your PVs are going to be created for you when they are not going to be created for you unless you do it. So there you go. Take it or leave it. But maybe that'll explain why Minikube worked for your PVC without your PV manifest, and why an actual Kubernetes cluster doesn't work doing the same thing.